100 points apiece.
Well, you know, Pat, the big problem is not getting the performance out of these cars. The problem is getting the performance and staying within the guidelines of this little rule book right here.
Well, staying within the guidelines in the zone was what we looked at as the cars prepare to go qualifying during time trials earlier this weekend.
Peter Gibbons in the Canadian Tire Chevy set the early fast time for the provisional pole, but that was bettered when number 55, Neil Fair, broke the 22-second barrier with a fine first lap performance. However, former Cascar champion Steve Robley in the Ford grabbed the pole with this blistering 21.943 run. So the Mopar Fast 4 shows Robley from Dorchester, Ontario on the inside front row in his Ford Taurus.
There's Neil Fair, who will start on the outside of row one. Pete Gibbons, his run was good enough for third in the Canadian Tire Chevy. And then Kelly Williams with a brilliant qualifying run, I believe her best ever in Cascar.
On hand earlier to help with the celebrations was Ford President and CEO Bobby Gaunt with Ford driver Earl Ross.
And Bobby Gaunt also had a chance to sit in points leader Dave Whitlock's Ford Taurus as she looks right at home behind the wheel of that Ford. As we prepare to go racing, it's all thumbs up here at Cayuga Speedway. Kelly Williams getting into her Goodrich Pontiac Grand Prix. She'll sit fourth on the grid. There is Dan Shurtleff, all suited up, ready to go, the former national and Eastern champion. And number one, Pete Gibbons, will start in row number 2.
And that's AC Delco team driver Alex Nagy ready to go. And here's Bobby Gaunt.
And the engines on the 38 Cascar late model stock cars come to life here on the grid as you look at Brad Jakes, who will carry one of our many onboard cameras. The 28 car of Steve Robley, the pole sitter, begins to roll here on the racetrack. As we look at the starting grid, there you see Robley and Fair, who will sit up there in row 1. Pete Gibbons and Kelly Williams in the second row. Back in the third row, we've got a couple of Monte Carlos and Dan Shurtleff and Don Thompson Jr. in that black number 4 car. Alex Nagy in the 93, qualified 7th fastest. To his outside will be Al Turner. Row number 5, a couple of Dodges. Brad Jakes in the 35, and 27 will be John Gaunt. Row number 6, Dave Jacobs in a Ford, and 82, former Rookie of the Year, Ted McIntyre. Row number 7, another couple of Dodges, Rob Neely and Jack Monahan. Row number 8, Ron Beauchamp Jr., and 25, Jim Lapsovich in the Ford. Row number 9, national champion Dave Whitlock, and to his outside, Duke Sawchuk, making his second Super Series start this year. Billy Rouse Jr. and Scott Lindsay make up row number 10. Row 11, former champion Mark Dilley in the Chevrolet, and Derek Temersma, one of our rookie contenders. As we look at the rest of the starting grid, there you see DJ Kennington all the way back in 24th starting position. And the last car on the grid, the 51 of Al Long, also a disappointing qualifying run for 43 Sean Dupuis, as we go on board with Dave Whitlock as the cars are just about ready to go.
And there's the Ford race analysis with over $53,000 posted. They'll go 300 laps on this 5/8 of a mile banked oval. Here's Todd Lewis.
Kelly Williams starts 4th today, her best ever start of the Cascar Super Series. She led for her first laps in the last race. Will that success continue today? Peter Gibbons starting 3rd has fallen to 17th in the overall standings, as you heard off the top. Can he turn his season around? And the pole sitter, Steve Robley, 2-time national champion. Will he be among the contenders again? We'll find out at 300 laps.
Interesting comment about Pete Gibbons, Pat. He's won a Cascar race this year, but he's been inconsistent with his other finishes. He finds himself back in 17th spot in the championship at the moment.
But he is 3rd on the grid here for today's race after a great effort in qualifying. The Ford pace car is on pit road, and in the flagger stand, Bobby Gaunt will throw the green flag. We're racing in the Ford Quality Care 300, and it is 55, Neil Fair, from the outside, who will grab the lead. 28, Steve Robley in second. 31, Kelly Williams third, and battling for third with number 1, Pete Gibbons, who works the low side of the racetrack. So Fair gets the jump off the green flag. It is 28, Robley in second, and now Kelly Williams, number 31, will inch ahead of Pete Gibbons, drops down to the inside of the racetrack to hold out of that 3rd place position. Gibbons, number 1, runs 4th, and then it is the 3 car of Dan Shurtleff back in the 5th place position. The number 4 of Don Thompson Jr. runs in the 6th place spot, and now will ride on board with Don Thompson Jr. He has run very well here at Cayuga Speedway in the past. Oh, and we've got a spin off at turn 4. That is Scott Lindsay in the red 8 car. Number 14 also involved is John Fitzpatrick, and this will bring out our first caution. 13 Old Ross is the third car involved.
Hopefully they'll continue racing here at Cayuga Speedway.
No one's tougher on motor oil than Formula One drivers. The extreme stress and searing heat generated by their hard driving can break down an oil in no time. That's why the Winfield Williams F1 racing team uses Castrol, the only leading 10W30 that provides maximum protection against both viscosity and thermal breakdown. Because some people have more important things to worry about than motor oil. Castrol GTX. Drive hard.
Your car is a high-precision instrument. Take it to AutoPro. With qualified personnel and state-of-the-art equipment, it's the expert on brakes, front-wheel drive, steering, suspension, and mufflers. All protected by AutoPro's national warranty. AutoPro, the largest network of car care professionals.
Hi, Tom Bodette. Well, this is what I looked like back when I was new. And this is a new room at Motel 6. When I was new, a new room at Motel 6. Cute, huh? I'm Tom Bodette, and we'll leave the light on for you.
This Speed Vision program is brought to you by Motel 6. Motel 6 has over 55,000 rooms renovated nationwide. Call 1-800-4-MOTEL-6 for reservations.
You're watching the Castrol Super Series as Scott Lindsay, who brought out the first caution flag, is pushed to the paddock. And Pat, it looks like his race is run.
Craig, that's a tough break for Scott Lindsay as we look at the running order. There you see Fair, Robley, Williams, Gibbons, and Shurtleff as they sit behind the Ford pace car. Scott Lindsay, of course, making a rare Super Series start. He's been running the regular Friday night shows at Delaware Speedway in the Sportsman division, but he has made an early exit out of this 300-lapper as we get the green flag from starter Matt Lake into turn number 155. The race leader, Neil Fair, down at the bottom of the racetrack. Robley will try to work the high side of this racetrack, but it has not been the fast way around the oval, at least in the early going. And oh, I believe he may have got tapped there by Kelly Williams, 31, as there was some contact between those two drivers, but Robley quick to work down to the bottom of the racetrack behind Fair as they run 1-2. It is Kelly Williams, 31, in third. Number 1, Pete Gibbons in fourth. And now a side-by-side battle shaping up between the 3-car of Dan Shurtleff and number 4, Don Thompson Jr. So Thompson, the latest driver to try the high groove here at the oval, and now Thompson will get shuffled back into the 6th place position. He was up alongside of Shurtleff, but that was not working up on the high side, and he'll now fall back in line. 93, Alex Nagy in 7th. 35, Brad Jakes runs 8th. There's the 82 car, the white Dodge of Ted McIntyre, back in the 9th place position, and the battle here for 10th involving 16 Turner and 27 Gone.
Well, early in the race, Pat, it looks like most guys are a little reluctant to run that outside lane. It's still a little slippery out there. And there's a guy we're looking at, number 16. He's had a tremendous amount of bad luck this year. His crew told me that he's been plagued by flat tires at just about every race that he's been to.
And Craig, we saw Al Turner trying that high groove, and he has just fallen back in a line behind the 27 car of John Gaunt. So while several drivers have tried to run up high, it does not appear to be the quick way around, and they've been working back down to the bottom of the racetrack. That battle for third continues between the 31 car of Kelly Williams and the number 1 of Pete Gibbons.
Well, Kelly Williams got a new Fletcher-built car this year, a new motor builder in Al Blanchard, a publicist who takes care of her many personal appearances, and a new aggressive driving attitude. She's holding off one of the toughest drivers in Cascar right now, Pat.
Kelly doing a great job of holding on to that 3rd place position, and does have a very busy 98 season. In addition to running all of the Castrol Super Series races, she's also been behind the wheel of a PPG pace car at a number of the FedEx Championship Series events. As we look at our UAP Napa Field summary, Don Thompson Jr. part of that battle for the 3rd place position. Ted McIntyre having a pretty good run, and the battle we're looking at right now is the race for 14th, involving the 02 car of Kerry Mix, who has just moved around 98 Dave Whitlock.
Well, Kerry uses the same motor builder as Kelly Williams, and you know Dave Whitlock, he never seems to be too concerned about track position this early in a long race. He's got a definite game plan. He sticks to it, Pat. He also has one of the best pit crews in the business.
And Dave Whitlock, also known as one of the most patient drivers in the series. He started back in 17th position. As he's picked up a couple of spots, we ride on board with Brad Jakes.
Well, Pat, you can see part of the ignition system Brad has on the dashboard trying to keep it cool. However, we've recorded temperatures of well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit on these dashboards.
And it's a very warm day here at Cayuga Speedway as we go on board now with Robin Buck in the number 66 UAP Napa Pontiac Grand Prix. Buck involved in the battle here for 18th, 19th, and 20th. With Jim Lapsovich, DJ Kennington also running in that group, as now we go on board with the 25 car of Jimmy Lapsovich, the Ford Tim Horton sponsored car. And now this is just a great shot looking at the suspension on these late model stock cars.
Well, it gives us a good chance to see the shock and spring working in the rear of Jimmy's Taurus. You can see how far the travel is when he's exiting Cayuga's corners, Pat.
And Craig, you can see just how far now Neil Fair and 28 Steve Robley have pulled ahead of this battle. It's going on for that third place position as number 1, Pete Gibbons, doing everything he can to get around the 31 car of Kelly Williams, but she continues to hold on to that third place position. Then it is Gibbons, number 1, in 4th. As we go back up front with the race leader, 55 Neil Fair, 28 Steve Robley in the Ford running 2nd. And then this great fight for the third place spot that involves, oh, we've got a problem with the 43 car of Sean Dupuis. The STP Ford is slowed on the back straight.
Well, Sean had a motor go away before qualifying, so he had to run in the last chance race starting 35th. The crew pulled the motor out of his show car while the car was being painted, and it doesn't look good for him right now, Pat.
Well, he'll go several laps down as they work on that car. The third place battle continues, involving the 31 of Kelly Williams, number 1 Pete Gibbons, the 3 of Dan Shurtleff. Let's go to the pits and Todd Lewis.
Sean Dupuis brings the 43 STP car onto pit lane. The crew first thought it was a plug wire that was off, but the air cleaners come off. They're looking in the distributor area, but they are down on power.
And unfortunately, the team's going to be down on laps, too. That's a tough break for the STP crew, Pat.
Well, a tough break indeed, Craig. Sean Dupuis had finished 3rd at Peterborough at our last race and was hopeful of an even better finish here today, but that looks like it will not happen as we look at the battle for 3rd, involving the 31 car of Kelly Williams and number 1 Pete Gibbons. They continue to fight it out for that 3rd place spot. Up front, it's still 55 Neil Fair, your race leader, followed by the 28 car of Steve Robley, just a few car lengths back, so Fair continues to lead. There's Duke Sawchuk in 16th.
Well, Pat, we heard a good story about the Duke. His longtime crew chief told Duke that if he ran his old pink-colored number 74, he would help him out financially for this race.
All problems and a caution flag here as the number 88 car of Dave Jacobs. And looks like he has either blown an engine, problem with the left front tire. He'll bring it on to pit road. Let's go to Todd Lewis in the pits.
Dave Jacobs brings the 88 Ford Taurus in. A left front tire is down. Crew over the wall. They're trying to push the car up so they can get the jack underneath it. They'll change tires, send it back out. Cascar's thrown the caution because they believe there's some oil or liquid down on the track from this 88 car.
That's Vander Weest in the Loctite Chevy taking on gas only. Billy Rose Jr. in and out. And here's Pat with an up-to-speed feature by Blue Streak.
There's an ongoing transition in race car preparation in the Cascar Super Series, from backyard garages to single-car trailers like the Blue Streak rig to dual-car haulers like the TMC Racing 18-wheeler. Dave Whitlock, who is currently tied in points for the Eastern Cascar Championship, is part of the New Look teams with facilities in Petrolia, Ontario. Whitlock's shop boasts a 2,300 square foot work area with equipment to build and repair the cars. Whitlock is a former ACT winner, 1991 Cascar champion, and the current Cascar national champion. He credits his team's skills at the shop and especially at the track for keeping the number 98 Ford Taurus always running at the front with lightning-quick pit stops. Dave Whitlock, a champion that knows the importance of teamwork.
And Whitlock is going to need some of that teamwork to move him a little closer to the front. And we'll have more racing after this.
the hours you've spent rebuilding small blocks and boosting horsepower, you would have graduated from UTI by now. And you'd be getting paid for doing what you love. Call 1-800-884-4262 to find out how we can make you one of the best technicians in the world. Universal Technical Institute.
What if there was this great diary, and in it was written every story of the outdoors that has ever been told? Stories of gray mornings, brown dogs. Page after page logged with adventure. What if there was a diary like that? Would you be in it?
To get the Outdoor Life Network, call your local cable operator or satellite distributor.
Mopar Performance Parts. If they work this well on the track, just imagine what they'll do for you on the road. Mopar Performance Parts, available from your Chrysler Canada dealer.
You're watching Castrol Super Series Racing and the Ford Quality Care 300 from Cayuga Speedway.
We continue to run under a caution period here, but the cars have lined up behind the Ford Taurus pace car as the pace car is pulled onto pit road. And in the flagger stand, the green flag out from Matt Lake. 55 Neil Fair and the 28 of Steve Robley will go side by side into turn one. Kelly Williams, 31, and number 1, Pete Gibbons, battling again for that third place position as 55 Fair working the low side of the racetrack. Here's Robley, number 28, up on the high side. I have not seen a driver so far, Craig, able to work that high groove, but here comes 28, Robley around the outside of Fair, and he will in fact grab the lead, but I believe Neil got a little bit loose coming off of that turn.
Well, you can see that Gibbons has got himself hung up on the outside. That's a tough place to be right now. You know, Pat, you can run the outside here, but it puts a lot of extra wear on the tires, and with so much racing left in this event to go, it's wise to stay low right now, keep the tires cooled out.
Well, most of the drivers are working the low side of the racetrack. Gibbons up on the high side. He was running in fourth, but now he'll get shuffled back to fifth as Dan Shurtleff goes through on the inside, followed by Don Thompson Jr. There is our UAP Napa Field summary as we see Dan Shurtleff up into fourth, Gibbons all the way back into sixth. So he tried to run that high groove, and he's just been shuffled back a couple of positions. So at least at this point in the race, that high groove not working here at Cayuga Speedway.
Well, there again, you see 82 McIntyre with the same problem as Gibbons, running on that outside groove. It's loose out there right at the moment.
And 16, Al Turner down at the bottom of the racetrack along with 03 Jack Monahan. And there's McIntyre, 82, getting shuffled back along with the 02 of Kerry Mix, who is also up on the outside. Mix now will fall in line as he drops down to the bottom of the racetrack underneath of 03 Jack Monahan.
Well, Mix is a hard charger. He's 37 years old from Mount Albert, Ontario. And Kerry has the distinction of having won the most heat races of any Cascar driver, Pat. And Kerry struggled a little bit this season, with his best finish being a fourth at St. Croix.
Well, Kerry's done a great job here at Cayuga today. He started 29th, has worked his way up into 12th. So he continues to work his way to the front. Let's go to the pits and check in with Todd Lewis.
Sean Dupuis in the STP car. You started off at the back of the field, but thought you had a good car after putting a new motor in, then lost power. How come?
We don't know exactly right now. It just lost power. The guys are looking at it right now, but I'm sure they'll get me back out there.
Tough early exit for the Ford Taurus.
Well, Sean's crew is going to, in fact, try to get him back out there to salvage at least some points from the race here today as we look at the race leader and pole sitter number 28, Steve Robley. They're in traffic. Taking a look on the inside is 55 Neil Fair. And now Kelly Williams in the 31 car is right there in third. The 3 car of Dan Shurtleff is fourth, and then number 4, Don Thompson Jr. back in fifth. Here's a great three-way fight involving the 98 car of Dave Whitlock, 66, Robin Buck, and number 74, Duke Sanchuk, They're running for 15th, 16th, and 17th positions out on the racetrack. So it has been a bit of a struggle here for Dave Whitlock. He has picked up a couple of spots.
Well, Whitlock had motor problems earlier in qualifying. He runs just in front of Robin Buck at the moment. You know, Pat, these V8 motors, they run these just over 7,000 RPM, and the cars get up to well over 100 mile an hour on Cayuga's back straight. But it's interesting that Cascar has mandated that each run a muffler supplied by Midas, and it's kept the noise level down considerably at these racetracks.
Well, of course, Cascar very cognizant of the noise pollution concerns, and they have made these cars quieter over the last few years by putting up bigger and better mufflers on them. As we look at that lead battle involving, oh, we've got a problem here, number 16, Al Turner, smoke pouring from that car. There's 03, Jack Monahan. He'll drop down to the inside. There may be some oil on the racetrack as Turner 16 rolls on the start-finish straightaway, and this will bring out yet another caution flag.
Well, the bad luck, Pat, just continues for Al Turner. Here's the order with Steve Robley still at the front. Don't count out Neil Fair. Here's Todd.
Jamie Way, did Al say anything out on the track? Do you know what happened?
No, he said that there was no warning. We think something happened in the motor, and you know, we thought this would be our turnaround race. We've had a bad year. We were kind of hoping this would be our turnaround race. Just no luck today.
Bad luck continues for the Blue Streak team.
And as Todd says, the Blue Streak team just can't buy a finish. Usually it's cut-down tires that plague these guys, but that's Van der Weest along with Brad Jakes in the pits, which will put them at the back of the field. Lots more action coming up. Stay with us.
Your car is a high-precision instrument. Take it to AutoPro. With qualified personnel and state-of-the-art equipment, it's the expert on brakes, front-wheel drive, steering, suspension, and mufflers. All protected by AutoPro's national warranty. AutoPro, the largest network of car care professionals.
To show off their renovated rooms, Motel 6 is doing its first big special effects commercial ever. Here goes. Cool. I'm Tom Bodette, and we'll leave the light on for you.
All season, Michael Schumacher has fought his way back to compete with Mika Hakkinen. In Italy, Schumacher finally evened the score. But Hakkinen put up a fight at Luxembourg. He won't give up so easily. With one race to go, it's Hakkinen 90, Schumacher 86. Who will be crowned the new world champion? Don't miss the exciting finish in Japan. Join Speed Vision for live qualifying. Friday, October 30th at 11 p.m. Eastern. Race coverage begins on Saturday at 10:30 p.m. Only on Speed Vision.
This is the Castrol Super Series from Cayuga Speedway as we get ready for a restart. Pat?
As the pace car pulls on to pit road, Matt Lake with the green flag. And again, it's 55 Neil Fair, 28 Steve Robley, side by side into turn number one. Fair up on the high side of the racetrack. Robley right down on the bottom of the racetrack as these two drivers have swapped the lead here so far. And now Dan Shurtleff around the outside of Steve Robley, who may have a problem. Robley getting shuffled back into third here off the restart. Side-by-side battle for the fourth place position. It's Kelly Williams, 31 in fourth. Don Thompson Jr. works the bottom of the racetrack. And again, Pete Gibbons getting hung up on the outside, but he's hanging in as we look at the UAP Napa Field summary. There you see Shurtleff, your new second place car. Pete Gibbons holding on to fifth, but again, he's up on the high side of the racetrack, and that has not worked so far here today. Number 4, Don Thompson Jr. closing on Kelly Williams, and Gibbons slides up high. Here comes Don Thompson Jr. down to the bottom of the racetrack, and he'll take over that fifth place position. Gibbons gets shuffled back into sixth. Here's another great battle just inside of the top 10, 0-3. That is Jack Monahan running in the 8th place position as he will move around. 27, John Gaunt. Gaunt, who won our Peterborough race, taking over the lead late. Oh, and action there between 0-2, Kerry Mix, and 27, John Gaunt. They appear to touch, and Mix will move up into 9th. 27, oh, and a problem here with 55, Neil Fair. It is Fair, 55, the leader, who's off the racetrack.
Well, it looks like his motor let go, Pat. And being the pro that he is, he headed for the grass so as not to lay down a line of oil. That's a great sportsman. And what a tough break, because he's third in the Eastern Championship at the moment.
Well, he did have that great run at Peterborough. Certainly deserved to win that race. And 35, Brad Jakes, they're slow on the inside. Jakes has got a problem as well. Neil Fair, 55, is in the pits, and it looks like they're going to push him behind the wall as Fair, who had a great run here so far at Cayuga Speedway, but then problems with the Chevrolet, and he has had to bring it onto pit road. Looking at the battle here for that third place position, Kelly Williams in third. Don Thompson Jr. now has moved up into that fourth place position. And then number 1, Pete Gibbons, sitting back there in fifth. So number 3, Dan Shurtleff, is your new leader, 28. Robley in second as they fight it out into turn number 3. Then you see a bit of a gap back to that three-way fight involving Kelly Williams, the black number 4 car of Don Thompson Jr., then Pete Gibbons of the Canadian Tire Chevy. That is the three-way fight for third, working back up across start-finish. So Dan Shurtleff taking over the lead after Neil Fair runs into problems here. A big disappointment for him. And here's another driver with problems. The onboard camera shows us the 25 of Jim Lapsevich, and there's smoke coming from that car.
Well, it's tough to tell what it is, but Jimmy should head for the pits before it does turn into a fire. He's down on the bottom of the racetrack now, and he's staying out of the way of the leaders.
Well, Craig, it looks like he'll in fact pull in on the back straightaway and go into the area behind pit wall. So this is a major problem for Lapsevich in that Tim Hortons Ford Taurus. After running pretty well here, he was moving up through the field, but now it looks like this may be it for the afternoon. The window netting coming down, and here is 28 Steve Robley on the inside of number 3 Dan Shurtleff. So Robley will retake the lead. Shurtleff getting shuffled back into the second place position. So the Ford driver who started on the pole, Steve Robley, has gone back out in front. Still 31, Kelly Williams holding on to third. Number 4, Don Thompson Jr. in fourth, and then Pete Gibbons in the number 1 Canadian Tire Chevy rounds out the top 5. There you see your front-running 5 cars going through. Now here's Todd Lewis with a report.
Jim Lapsevich climbing out of the Tim Hortons Discovery Ford Taurus. Burned up wires, the problem. They're going to try and correct it and get him back out.
Well, when the electrical harness is damaged, it's pretty tough to do a quick fix, Pat. You know, it's ironic that the electrics are a problem because the family runs an electrical business in Hamilton, Pat.
Well, Craig, that's a real tough break for Jim Lapsevich, who started 16. He was having a pretty good run here today and was going to pick up some pretty good points. But now they'll try to make repairs and get him back out there to try to salvage whatever they can. Race leader 28, Steve Robley in the Ford Taurus, just ahead of the number 3 car of Dan Shurtleff in second. Let's go to Todd Lewis.
Neil Fair, you had the 55 car out front. What happened?
We're having a great race here today, and we down the back straightaway, something like go with the motor or the transmission, but the guy's going to work on it. We're going to try and get back out, collect some points. It's about the best we can do today.
Points count as you drive for the Eastern Championship.
One of the real nice guys in the Super Series, Neil Fair. Here's another nice guy, John Gaunt, in his office, the 27 Centennial Dodge. John looks real comfortable out there right at the moment, Pat.
Hands in the 11 and 2 o'clock positions on the steering wheel. John Gaunt, 27, running in 9th. Sandwiched between the 0-2 of Kerry Mix and 60, that is Ron Beauchamp Jr., who was tied for the Eastern points lead with Dave Whitlock coming into this Ford Quality Care 300. That is your race leader, number 28, Steve Robley, followed by the 3 car of Dan Shurtleff. And now we go on board with Pete Gibbons, who is running in 5th. He is part of this great 3-way fight, along with number 4 Don Thompson Jr. and 31 Kelly Williams, as they duke it out here for that 3rd place position. 28, Robley, your leader, and they're going around some of the slower cars here. Number 9, that is Stevie Smith in the Dodge. He'll go yet another lap down as number 4, Thompson, now challenging for 3rd, manages to squeeze through on the inside. That was the 14 car, his teammate John Fitzpatrick. So he used Fitzpatrick to jump through in between that 14 car and 31 Kelly Williams. So Don Thompson Jr. now up into 3rd, Williams 31 in 4th, and number 1 Gibbons running back in the 5th place position. Quite a move there, Craig, by Don Thompson Jr.
Well, Pat, remember, none of this lead group have made their pit stop yet. They're all looking for a caution. You're watching Castrol Super Series racing from Cayuga Speedway. We'll be right back.
If you're considering natural hair restoration, remember, Bosley Medical Doctors have performed over 100,000 hair restoration procedures, more than any other group in the world.
Some of these transplants are 19, 20 years old. and they're growing just as strong today as they did in the beginning.
I will never have a hairline any higher than what you see now, ever. And that feels pretty good.
All I would have left up here, right now, without the transplants, would be light hairs. Everything else is transplanted.
We've developed these new ultrafine microtechnologies. That means we can do up to 1,000 or 1,200 micrographs at a time. This makes a much more natural and unobtrusive appearance with our final result.
Simply call the number on your screen for your free information and schedule your free private consultation. Find out for yourself how these remarkable procedures can give you a new head of hair and a whole new outlook on life.
Keep your car in great shape. STP shape. An STP fuel injector cleaner helps keep it that way. It's easy. Just add it to your car's gas and drive your fuel injectors clean. Clean into STP shape with STP fuel injector cleaner. It's easy to keep your car looking great with STP Son of a Gun Protectant.
Shine, protect, keep your car looking great. Son of a gun helps keep your car in STP shape.
Son of a gun.
We're back with Cascar Eastern Series Championship Racing in the Cascar Super Series. I'm Craig Hill along with Pat Gonzalez and Todd Lewis, and we've still got 30 cars running in this 300-lapper, Pat.
Well, 38 took the green flag. We've had very little attrition, and some of those cars that are behind the pit wall being worked on may yet reappear out here on the racetrack. We look at the battle here for 7th involving the 03 car of Jack Monahan in the Dodge. He just got tapped there by the 61 of John Fletcher. You saw 02 Kerry Mix right behind. And oh, Robin Buck has got a problem. It looks like that engine is simply not running as he co-saw to pit road. There's the crew over the wall. He'll put it in neutral, but Robin Buck, number 66, who's been plagued by all kinds of problems through the first part of this Cascar Eastern Series, has pulled it onto pit road, and it looks like he may be through for the afternoon. Up front, this one has developed into a great four-way battle for the lead, and there is the Buck car, number 66, being worked on pit road as they've gone under the hood, so it looks like it's some kind of a motor problem. Here is the battle for the 8th place position. A 02 Kerry Mix, who had been running in 8th, will get shuffled all the way back to 10. As we look at the UAP Napa field summary, 27 John Gott, your new 8th place driver, 60 Ron Beauchamp Jr. in 9th, and Kerry Mix, there you see in the field summary, back in 10th, followed by DJ Kennington and Ted McIntyre. Up front, it continues to be a four-way war for the lead. 28, that is Steve Robley, the man who started on the pole position in the Ford Taurus with the lead. 3, Dan Shurtleff right on his rear bumper. Don Thompson Jr. in the number 4 Chevrolet runs 3rd. And then number 1, Pete Gibbons, the defending Cascar Eastern champion, right there in the 4th place spot. And now you're in the thick of the battle for the lead with Pete Gibbons as you ride along in the Canadian Tire Chevy. He closes right up on Don Thompson Jr. as Gibbons right down on the bottom of the racetrack. He did not have a whole lot of success earlier in this race trying to run that high groove here on the 5/8 of a mile oval, but right now it's single file around the outside of the number 9 car of Stevie Smith in the Dodge as he will go yet another lap down. Steve Robley continues to lead it. Let's go to Todd Lewis in the pits.
Rob Neely was supposed to start this afternoon's race in 13th spot, but the crew had to open the hood while the car was on the grid. A no-no under Cascar rules. He was sent to the back of the field at the start, but has moved back to that 13th spot already.
Well, the story there is that Harry Treby, who is the co-crew chief with Bud Neely, just checked under the hood to make sure that the bar that holds the hood up during pit stops was in place. As Todd says, that's a no-no. Just what I was talking about at the beginning of the show, Pat. You have to stay within the Cascar rule book.
Greg, I'm not sure if Dan Shurtleff was within the rule book with that little tap on the number 28 car of Steve Robley, who's caught up on the outside, and he'll get shuffled all the way back into that 4th place position. So Robley goes from 1st to 4th in this front-running quartet as number 3, Dan Shurtleff is your new leader. Number 4, Don Thompson Jr. up to 2nd, and then Pete Gibbons runs in that 3rd place position. Robley all the way back to 4th, as he did get tapped there by Shurtleff, number 3.
Well, for that maneuver, Dan got a big-time warning from starter Matt Lake. So with 3 Chevys in the top 3 spots, we're going to take a break.
Once in a lifetime, fulfill your need for speed. Finish Line Racing Adventure, America's short track specialist in delivering the fantasy of being a race car driver. Reward your employees. Thank your customers. Live the dream. The lure of speed beckons. Call Finish Line Racing Adventure toll-free for the fantasy of a lifetime. Be a champion for a day. Have memories for a lifetime. Call now to book your adventure.
$250? It's only a little scratch.
Here a scratch, there a scratch, everywhere a scratch. And they're all an eyesore. What you need is GS27 Scratch Remover. It's new from Duralube. GS27 gets rid of those surface scratches and paint swirls quickly and easily. Simply rub GS27 into the scratch, then polish it to a beautiful finish. The scratch is gone.
I still can't believe it was that easy. GS27 got rid of those scratches in less than a minute. It's great.
GS27 is not an abrasive. It's a superfine microscopic crystallite that works its way into the scratch and polishes it away. And look, you don't have to go crazy trying to match colors. That same tube of GS27 works wonders on any color car. You have to see it to believe it. Amazing!
The repair shop said it had to sand, prime, and paint. What a bunch of bull. GS27 took that ugly scratch away in no time.
Watch. Would you do this to a brand new car? Ouch! But GS27 removes that ugly scratch quickly and easily. What a difference! GS27 is so effective, it'll even remove paint scrapes, ugly rust from chrome bumpers, and scratches and scrapes from your boat's gel coat. GS27 is only $14.95. But wait! Order now and get a second tube for only $5. That's two for just $19.95. It'll remove those surface scratches from your car or your money back. Don't live with those ugly scratches and don't spend a fortune to remove them. Order your GS27 Scratch Remover now.
Call toll-free 1-800-798-8008 or send check or money order for $14.95 for one or $19.95 for two, plus $5.95 shipping and handling to GS27, 1000 Apex Street, Department GS, Nashville, Tennessee. Or use your credit card and call 1-800-798-8008.
This is the Ford Quality Care 300 from Cayuga Speedway in Ontario, Canada. And some of these leaders must be getting low on fuel at this stage, Pat.
Well, Craig, I think there's a real major concern about fuel. We've had a very long green flag run. As we look at Don Thompson Jr. sitting in that second place position, he is yet to come on to pit road. And I would think that very shortly he'll have to do that. Otherwise, he may yet run out of fuel. There's your leader, Shirtliff.
Well, Don Thompson is part of the HMS Equipment two-car team, along with number 14, John Fitzpatrick. Don isn't just a professional driver, but he also builds his team cars, along with helping to build the Lapsevich Ford, Pat.
Oh, there's the 31 car of Kelly Williams getting very loose. She may have some kind of a tire problem aboard the 31 car. Race leader, number 3, Dan Shirtliff, in traffic as he comes up here to lap the 31 car of Kelly Williams. Let's go to the pits and Todd Lewis.
It's a long green flag run, and that burns fuel. All the Dodge cars need a caution now, or you'll be seeing the Dodge cars in under green flag pit stops, followed by the Fords, then the GM cars.
Well, the report that we get is that the Chevys are probably the most fuel efficient, followed by the Fords, and then the Dodges. But when it comes to grunt, the order is probably the reverse, Pat.
Well, Dan Shirtliff Chevrolet has had some pretty good grunt here this afternoon. He continues to lead in a number 3 car. Then it is Ford, Don Thompson Jr. in second. Then the lapped cars of 31 Kelly Williams and Dave Whitlock, who are being shown in 11th and 12th. One lap down, but there is your race leader, number 3, Dan Shirtliff in the Chevrolet. Pete Gibbons is third. Let's go on board.
What are we going to do, Dave? Just one can of fuel and then gamble on a caution later? So we're really geared up for 2 cans, buddy. We got to get a piece of it in, and I think we're all right. We only need like 3 gallons in it of the second can.
That's spotter Dan Hallman talking to the Gibbons crew chief, Dave Hernan, about how to handle the Gibbons pit stop. The idea is to get them in and out as quickly as possible by just taking on fuel.
Side by side into turn number 3, and it is Ford, Don Thompson Jr., who will grab the lead from number 3, Dan Shirtliff. As we look at the UAP Napa field summary, there you see Mix up into 7th, and Derek Tamiersma, the last driver, running on the lead lap. Kelly Williams and Dave Whitlock in 11th and 12th running a lap down. Your new leader, number 4, Don Thompson Jr., in the Chevrolet, followed by number 3. Oh, John Gott has taken a shortcut into the pits.
John Gott pulled off the front straight to make it down into the pits, cutting through the barrier on the outside of the track. He'll be penalized for that. The crew is over the wall. They are changing the right side tires, but he must have run out of fuel to haul it in off the front straight like that.
Well, there's the second can of fuel going into the car, so he was really out of gas, Pat.
Oh, and he pulls away with that gas can still attached to the car. So they dropped it off the jacks, and Gott 27 heads back out, but he'll have to come back onto pit road.
Well, once the jackman lets the car down on four wheels, the driver takes that as a sign to go, so you can't blame John.
Well, there is John Gott as he returns to pit road. He's going to have to serve a stop and go here. The crew standing by to pull that gas can away from the side of the car to get him back out onto the racetrack, but this is going to cost him some time, laps, and certainly a lot of track position. The gas can falls out of there, and now as he rolls down to the end of pit road, there he is being stopped. He'll serve that stop and go penalty. There is Kelly Williams. She's come on to pit road, currently being shown in 10th place in car number 31, but still being shown a lap down, as it looks like they'll change white side rubber on the Pontiac Grand Prix, and she is down and away as we continue to run under green. There's your race leader, number 4, Don Thompson Jr., closely followed by the number 3 car of Dan Shurtleff. So it's Chevrolet's 1-2 back up across start finish, and into turn number 1. Shurtleff is right there. He has led after qualifying very well, and now number 82 Ted McIntyre is on pit road. He'll head back out, but we understand that he'll have to come back in as well for a stop and go penalty because they had too many men over the wall. Let's go to the pits and check in with Todd Lewis one more time. Todd?
Number 67, Derek Tamirisma, the Rookie of the Year contender, in for his pit stop. Change tires, fuel, he's on his way.
Tamirisma having a pretty good run here this afternoon as we look at race leader number 4, Don Thompson Jr., closing in here on the 93 of Alex Nagy, the number 3 car of Dan Shurtleff running in the number 2 spot. And then back in third is number 1, Pete Gibbons. You just saw number 4, Don Thompson Jr. get into the back of 93 Alex Nagy, who runs on the lead lap but is in danger of being lapped, as Thompson, number 4, is right there parked on his rear bumper. Down on the inside of the racetrack, that's Stevie Smith in a number 9 Dodge. He is running several laps down, and Dan Shurtleff is able to squeeze through on the inside as Don Thompson Jr. was parked behind 93 Alex Nagy, who will now go a lap down. Dan Shurtleff took advantage of the situation and jumps into the lead. We've got a problem on pit road for number 28, Steve Robley, who started on the pole position here today in Cayuga. Let's go to the pits and check in with Todd Lewis.
Rob Neely in the number 97 car brings it onto pit road. The crew goes up, changing the right side tires. He was to start 13th. They put him to the back of the field because the crew had the hood up on the starting grid. Back down, he's moved steadily through the field. This looks to be a fairly routine stop except for a bit of trouble on the right front. Now the crew seems to have it on. They'll button that back up and get him on his way.
And there's Alex Nagy pitting. He just went a lap down on the leaders, but this is one of the best races of the season that he's had, Todd.
Alex Nagy in the number 93 car started in 7th place. He's hung on, done well, moved through the field, contending with the leaders. It looks to be a fairly routine stop. The crew now looks to be putting a little bit of right side wedge into the rear, and they'll send him on his way.
In the meantime, the top 3 cars, all Chevy Monte Carlos, are still out there running under green, but all very low on fuel. Dan Shurtleff, number 3, your new race leader. Thompson, and now 03, Jack Monahan has come out of pit road. Let's go to Todd Lewis.
Jack Monahan brings the 03 car into the pits. The crew is going gas only. He was in 4th place. They're trying to make this as quick a pit stop as possible and will not change tires. Gas still going into the car. It looks to be full. Now they'll get him back out.
And here comes number 3, Dan Shurtleff in the Good Wrench Chevy into the pits. Dan's best showing this year was a 2nd place finish at St. Eustache, but I know he and crew chief Tim Ellis are definitely looking for a win here at Cayuga.
Leader Dan Shurtleff has held out as long as he can. The crew is over the wall, cleaning the windshield, filling it with gas. They will not change tires to get him back out as quickly as possible during this green flag. Car is full. He stalls it on pit road. Now they're going to push the car to try and get him back moving again.
Oh, what a tough break for Shurtleff. The whole idea was just to make this as quick a stop as possible by just taking on the minimum load of fuel and hoping for a yellow to take on new tires later, Pat.
Well, that's got to be a bitter disappointment for Dan Shurtleff, Tim Ellis, as they finally do get the car fired. He had been the leader as he came on a pit road, but now he will drop back, I believe, at least into the second place position. We got a spin off at turn 4, 64, Mark Dilley in the Chevy. And will stay green here as Dilley will roll back onto the speedway. But again, he has not had a great run here today. He's found it a little bit tough coming back to Cascar after a layoff of several years. But he is a former Cascar champion, but finding the going tough.
And Pat, we've got a Mopar replay of something breaking away from Kelly Williams' Pontiac. It's kind of tough to know what it is because it's not a small part, that's for sure.
Well, Craig, it does not appear to be affecting the performance aboard Kelly's number 31 Pontiac Grand Prix. She continues to run in the top 10. We saw leader Don Thompson Jr., now number 1, Pete Gibbons. Looks like he was about to turn into his pit stall and may have run right past it, and he'll have to head back out onto the speedway and work his way on around. So this is going to cost him several positions as Pete Gibbons makes a little bit of a miscue. He rolls down the back straightaway into turn number 3 and will be coming back onto pit road. He must be running on fumes right now as, number 27, John Gaunt, right into the back of the Canadian Tire Chevy as Gibbons was about to duck onto pit road, stalled, and Gaunt was right down to the bottom of the racetrack and just banged into the back of that car. So Gibbons will have to head back on around one more time.
Well, here's the Mopar replay from on board Gibbons' car as he lines up the pit, and Gaunt just drives him sideways and spins him. You know, Johnny Gaunt didn't have a chance. He didn't know it was going to happen.
Don't worry about it. Just go in, get your fuel, and we get back at it, buddy. Tell me where I'm not with the sign. I will do that. I don't want too many people talking.
Peter Gibbons in the number 1 Canadian Tire car has finally made it onto pit road after missing his pit stall once around, then getting into an accident in turn 4. He's made it in the 3rd time through. It's a fuel-only stop. Now he's on his way.
Pete Gibbons away after finally being able to complete that pit stop. The crew doing a nice job, but that certainly cost him some positions out there on the racetrack. Your race leader, Don Thompson Jr., has yet to come on to pit road. He has got to be getting very, very close to running out of fuel, but here he comes as you ride on board with the race leader. Don Thompson Jr. has brought the Chevrolet onto pit road. The question now, can he hang on to the lead as he stops here under these green flag conditions? And Todd Lewis is there in the Thompson pits.
Don Thompson in the number 4 car, former winner here at Cayuga. Gas-only stop. He's on his way.
Excellent stop by the Thompson crew. We clocked it at under 7 seconds, Pat, and that's going to keep him in the lead.
A superb pit stop by the Thompson crew. No tires, fuel only, as he hangs on to the lead just ahead of 02 Kerry Mix. There's your leader, Thompson.
And there's the top 5 drivers after the green flag pit stops. But can anyone catch Don Thompson Jr.?
You've never seen anything like it, and it's headed for Canadian Tire. More selection, more parts for more makes and models of cars and light trucks, more quality brand names like Certified Brakes, Monroe Shocks, and TRW suspension parts. So now, you'll get the right parts when you need them at guaranteed low prices. Canadian Tire, Canada's auto parts store.
Here's what the renovated rooms at Motel 6 look like when you're sleeping and when you're awake. Asleep, awake, strobe light. Sorry, I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
This November on the Outdoor Life Network, Year 3 of our exclusive FIS World Cup coverage slams into the slopes with kickoff events from Austria and Canada. Get a taste of winter with Ski Week 98 and catch hot snowboarding and skiing premieres. See England rein in the power of the world's best equestrians and examine the marine life chaos El Nino left in its wake. All November, only on the Outdoor Life Network. Call your satellite distributor or cable operator.
This is late model stock car racing from Cayuga Speedway, and we're under the yellow flag with more pit stops.
Don Thompson brings the number 4 car in. He was in for a very fast gas and go earlier under this latest caution. Car's going to go up. They are going to change right side tires and top it off with fuel.
Pete Gibbons also into the pits. They'll change right side rubber on the Canadian Tire Chevy as we see several other drivers taking advantage of this caution period to come out of pit road. There is Don Thompson Jr. He is down and away. Dan Shirtliff in car number 3 also on a pit road as they'll change right side rubber. Kerry Mix in the 02, who had been running second. But let's have a look at the reason for the caution. Hard crash on the front straightaway involving 61 John Fletcher and number 74 Duke Sawchuk. You can see the Fletcher car all torn up, as our Mopar replay also shows the damage to the Duke Sawchuk car. That was a very hard crash. As we look at the current running order under caution, Don Thompson Jr., your leader, Mick Shirtliff, Monahan, Kelly Williams being shown in 5th, but there's some talk from scoring that 93, Alex Nagy may in fact be in 5th and the last car on the lead lap, but at the tail end of the lead lap, that would put Williams 31, a lap down and in 6th. There's the green flag from Matt Lake as the field races down into turn 1. Number 4, Don Thompson Jr. in the Chevrolet Monte Carlo is your race leader as they work the back chute into turn number 3. Let's go to Todd Lewis.
Duke Sawchuk, the number 74 in pink, looks like old home again. You're here for the second Cayuga race. A tough hit out there, though.
Yeah, we were trying to hang on out there. The car got a little bit, was getting loose, and we were still pretty good. And we had made our way through the pack on fuel economy. And the guy behind me was a little bit tighter than I was. He loosened me up a little bit too much. I tried to recover, and unfortunately, there was another car on the outside. We tangled, but that's got to be one of the hardest hits I've ever had.
Hopefully, we'll see you back here for the third Cayuga race.
Well, Duke Sawchuk very composed after that horrendous crash here on the front straightaway. We got a problem with the number 5 car of David Q. Smoke pouring from that car as he brings it onto pit road. As the Cascar officials are out there checking over the racetrack to make sure there's no oil down on the pavement, they've gone under the hood.
And there's the race order. Earlier, these guys were hoping for a yellow. Now we've had 2 in a row. Stay tuned. This will give us a great run to the finish.
Now, the ultimate in extreme crash action has twice the excitement in this exclusive new 2-video set, Awesome Crashes and Motorcycle Madness. This action-packed set features some of the most awesome and devastating crashes you've ever seen. From the outlaw sprint cars to superbikes and powerboats, Awesome Crashes is just what the name says, awesome. And if you want motorcycle crashes, look no further. Motorcycle Madness has bone-chilling 2-wheel crashes that'll make your spine tingle. You get both action-packed crash videos for the incredible price of only $19.95. But if you order within the next 30 minutes, we'll include Easter absolutely free. It's just what the name says, and it's free if you order now. You get all 3 incredible videos for the price of one, a $60 value. Yours for the next 30 minutes for only $19.95. The clock is ticking, so call now. To order, call 1-800-684-8866. That's 1-800-684-8866. Or send check or money order to the address shown. That's 1-800-684-8866. Call now.
Auto parts, auto parts, auto parts. For quality, we have the line for top performance every time. Superior products for every type of range, you know. This feels just right.
Installed at Auto Pro and UAP Napa member installers.
At first glance, this battery looks like most other batteries, except for one important feature. Only a UAP Napa battery meets the top quality standards of UAP Napa. UAP Napa, the right brand for the job.
We're back for the final laps of the Ford Quality Care 300 with Don Thompson Jr., number 4 at the front, as we get set for the restart.
There we look at our UAP Napa field summary. There you see Alex Nagy, the last car running on the lead lap as they get the green flag once more from Matt Lake. And Don Thompson Jr. now has stretched it out by a couple of car lengths over number 3, Dan Shirtliff. So the Chevrolets run 1-2 down the back chute up into turn number 3. The laps running down here, and Don Thompson Jr. trying to hang on for the win. There's his crew. They're already celebrating on pit road, Craig, as he brings it back to the line. There is number 3, Dan Shirtliff, but it doesn't look as though Dan's got anything for that front-running Chevrolet. 03, Jack Monahan back there in the 3rd place spot in the Dodge. Don Thompson Jr. with just over a lap to go. He works off at turn number 4, the white flag. in the hands of Matt Lake. Don Thompson a lap away from victory here in the Ford Quality Care 300. Number 3, Dan Shurtleff running in second. The 0-3 of Jack Monahan still in third. Kelly Williams there just ahead of him, but she is running a lap down and being posted in 6th at the moment. Off of turn number 4, checkered flag being prepared at the line. Here comes Don Thompson Jr. The celebration has already started on pit road as he takes the checkered flag for the win. What a great team effort. 2 superb pit stops, 300 great laps from Don Thompson Jr. from Canada. Well.